Okay, so welcome back, and this is a little passion of mine, this particular video. I have spoke about this artist before in my top 20, but that was a long time ago. But I do think I'm such a fan, it deserves a video of its own. And what we're talking about Boy George, also known as the Twin. And I'm basically talking about the Twin, who I'm such a massive fan of. So the Twin project was a collaboration between Boy George and Kinky Roland, who's a dance music producer. He's also the one half of my production outfit, which is Punx Soundcheck. So it was a project between 2003 2004, which is a great time, the kind of whole time with the Electro Clash, whole thing about nag. I've always been a massive fan of Boy George, and obviously working with him as Punx Soundcheck has been great. Before we can move on to that, this t-shirt that I'm wearing is Boy George as the Twin. And obviously he sang on our latest release, it just come out about a month ago, as the Twin on this record. So we had these t-shirts done to coincide with the release itself on vinyl and CD, which is great because it all sold out completely. But these t-shirts are still available via Hot Workshop. And there's two, there's this version, there's another version with the head, but George as the Twin. So the Twin, so it was a little collaboration between George and Kinky Roland, calling themselves the Twin. It was an alter ego, basically, and it kind of enabled George to kind of do stuff he wouldn't normally do. Didn't get any radio play because this stuff was quite underground at the time. This sound was still very underground. 2000, 2003 was really early on in the whole Electro Clash thing before it kind of kicked off. I was also at the time in a band called the Droids, and we supported the Twin live gig when they played at the Electric Ballroom. Electric Ballroom? Yeah, they did a gig at the Electric Ballroom, and we were the support acts, the Droids. So I've always been a massive fan of the Twin, and I still love listening to stuff now. There wasn't that many releases. He just released like 4 limited edition singles. There was a 12-inch. That was it. The other stuff came out on CD. In fact, there's only one CD, which is the album. We can talk about that in a sec. But again, as it's been a vinyl channel, we're just going to talk about the vinyl side of things. So George kind of wrote with Kinky Roland, very kind of geared towards that whole early electro clash, electro kind of punk kind of vibe. And he worked with quite a few people on these tracks as well as the Twin. Great artwork for the record as well, I was going to show you now. And this stuff is really sought after. I mean, these records are going for like £200. For a full set, the 4 singles, you're looking at £500, £600. So they're really sought after. They're very, very limited because they were all numbered as well. I think there was just a maximum of 500 per 7-inch, which I'm going to show you in a second. And obviously at the time as well, George was starring in his Taboo, which he'd wrote. And he was obviously playing the lead character, Lee Bowery. So the Twin is a nice little crossover, that Lee Bowery kind of look and that kind of ethos. With the latex kind of drips on the head and things like that, which I absolutely loved. I used to love seeing him down at Nag, dressed up as the Twin. He did that famous gig at the Ghetto as part of Nag as the Twin. So I'm just a massive fan of this project. And a little kind of information for you. We Punx Soundcheck own a label called Icon Series, released a lot of his stuff. But there was a Twin track from back then called Nothing. We did a remix as the Droids, but never actually came out. But that is all going to change soon. So you heard it here first. That will be coming out at some point this year. A new release from the Twin and the track Nothing. So we're looking at getting some remixes done. We're going to be using the original versions of them as well, and we're also re-vocaling it as well. So you heard it here first. There will be a new Twin record, an old record in fact, but re-vocaled, coming out later this year on Icon Series. So let's have a look at the 4 singles. So I'm not sure which was the first one. So I'm just going to go through and end on my favourite one. So the first one is what we call Electro Hetero. And I know there was a bit of controversy with this sleeve because it's got, I know I spoke about this when I did my top 20. But you have David Beckham sitting in the background with a pair of undies on and a bra. And obviously George looking like George on the cover. The artwork was insane. I mean, I'm not sure who did the artwork. It just says sleeve image, crossed out, in a bra image, trademark. No, there's nothing on here. So I think it was actually George has something to do with this. Cover colouring by Speedometer Design. So visit the Twin at... So obviously, you know, they've got the guys who do this artwork, but this is insane artwork. And it says here, the Twin will return shortly with sanitized for home use only. And this is number 69 of 500. So you've got the original mix and you've got the Replicant mix. Replicant is an alter ego of Kinky Rollins as well. And we were signed to the same label at the time, 2000, 2003, as Replicant and us as Punx Soundcheck. And it was a label from Berlin called Beauty Case Records. Icon Series will release the Replicant album with George all over it. So if you haven't heard that, go and check his album out as the Replicant, who's now producing not only with me as Punx Soundcheck, but another act called RSF. Okay, the inside sleeve, you've got the yellow label copies, and just with Replicant mix backwards, and you've got the original mix. That's all you have on that. The next one I've got this in HOV for £3.99. Who knew £3.99 is now worth about £200? The next one is the Twin Human Racing, and I just love the artwork again. George in his kind of Lee Bowery kind of outfit. And the back again, I think George had a fixation with David Beckham because there he is again. And I think the clothes that have been used in this was a clothing brand that I think him and his brother had called Be Rude. It's still going now, actually. And same thing again, you've got the Super Alaska mix, and then you have the Replicant mix again. Again, this came out more protein. Now, there's 520 of these. Then this is number 430 of this. Again, the record on the inside is now blue with the Twin, and the right and Replicant mix everything back to front. So it's now blue. Okay. Next one is the Twin. Here Comes the Girls. I think it's probably the most famous Twin track. Here Comes the Girls. I'm not sure who did the vocals on it. I should have really read the back of this. But something it does say, and I do relate to this. Thanks to Julia Finley for lending us the girls. So obviously that's the girls that sing on this track. iMedia for keeping Roland in bird feed. And Nag 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 for inspiration and for letting them do a turn. So what that was, they did a Twin gig and brought the girls, actually sang on this Here Come the Girls. The whole little thing about Kinky Roland and his bird feed. Kinky Roland has birds. So that's a kind of piss take, you know, bird feeding his birds. But yeah, this is a great record. I did love this. Now you've got the Super Alaska mix and you have the Replicant mix as well. The sleeve is great. Again, George done up is almost looking like Lee Bowery again, which is great. And the inside this time it is a kind of pink. Nice. The final one, which is my favourite out of all of these, of the 7-inch singles, the 4 7-inch singles that were released, and that was the Twin Sanitized. I think the cover's insane. And we're going to do something kind of similar to this for the Nothing release as well. And again, you've got the Dubversive mix, 4 minutes 56. You've got the Replicant mix again on the B side. Again, you've got a young guy wearing some Be Rude clothes with David Bowie t-shirt, the shorts with Lee Bowery on him. And this track is called Sanitized, which is great. This is definitely my favourite. And this is 310 out of 500. Who knew? Inside, it is red. Totally suits the sleeve there, red. But that is such a cool cover. That's definitely one of my favourites. So that was the 4 singles, but he did release one 12-inch as the Twin. And again, it was Sanitized. So remember, all this came out between 2003, 2004, early 2004 was probably the final kind of release. He did release a 12-inch. And to be quite honest, Sanitized I love, great, but I think they could have done a lot more with the cover. Again, it's got the Twin logo as ever. And on the back, you've got another shot. I think these are all shot by George as well. But you've got Sanitized, the remixes. So you've got the Kinky Rollin mix, you've got the Frosty Boy mix, you've got the Teetotal mix, which is, you probably know Teetotal are a few kind of big faces around London. And then you've got the Super Alaska mix. We've obviously done a couple of the mixes on some of the singles. And that's it. So they're good remixes, I've got to say, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more with the artwork. You know, you can imagine a different kind of version of this, because I know there was a different version of this for the promo. It was the same image, but a different take on that image. So I wish they kind of used that for the 12-inch, really, because I think that's kind of boring. I don't know what it's supposed to mean with all these bugs and stuff. Sanitized, sanitation. Inside, I thought was quite cool because you've got the Anarchy sign on one side. And then the other side, you've got the logo of the Twin, sanitized with the remixes. I remember now who was part of Teetotal is Tasty Tim, is part of Teetotal, who's an incredible person, great friend of mine. And Teetotal were amazing. If you want a really good mix, go and see them. But again, that is all the vinyl when it comes to the Twin. We will be releasing it on vinyl at some point. But there wasn't that many releases coming out for the Twin, and it's something that Boy George fans, Twin fans are calling out for, is they want more stuff. The album came out Yum Yum, but it only came out on a promo CD. It didn't actually come out physically on CD or vinyl, which is a shame. I'd love to see that at some point on vinyl. But then it came out digitally, so you can listen to the album Yum Yum on digital. But there was a load of other tracks, again, like Nothing, which I think is one of the best songs George has ever written, and it's great lyrics, so I'm looking forward to seeing that coming out. Let me know, would you like to see more Twin? Do you know who the Twin is? Do you know this stuff? Would you like to see more Twin stuff? Because I can try and make it happen. Let's try and make this happen. Let's get some more Twin stuff out there, all right? Let's not have sanitized George. Let's have, like, dirty Twin stuff. Okay, but yeah, that's Boy George, otherwise known as the Twin, or More Protein, and the 4-single release and the 12-inch sanitized that came out. If you are going to look and add to this collection, be prepared to spend, because these are worth so much money now. So be prepared to spend. Thank you very much.